Okay, testing the audio. Is this loud enough, or do I need to up the gain on the microphone? Okay. Yeah, I was doing the Dolphin quite a bit there. I'm surprised I didn't get like a ban from a GM because I know I just left the account sitting there in the map and just kept checking it every few hours. They usually don't like it when you're sitting in the same map for a very long time. If you send a PM to me, I can take a look at it at SpencerB96. As soon as this map loads. I'm just checking out the links now. Ico set, AP. So you're doing a FA setup still. AP's not the best choice with disruptors and phasers having so many different nice things, but I'm trying to think here what you could do with AP. I would definitely swap out the deflector for one of the colony ones. I have one on this character. I'll look at the end game. I would definitely invest in one of those. Those are pretty cheap. It's you don't even really need to upgrade it. I just upgraded it because I like the it being epic. But you get the crit chance and severity off of that. It's the same at any mark, any rarity. So I would definitely look into one of those. Get the fourth one on the list at the colony, and if you need a map invite, Feder KDF, I can help you out. Where's this account bank? Traits. See, so you're missing some of the nice ones here. Hold on. You're a tactical, right? Leafin, are you a tactical? I'm swapping characters a bunch, so yeah. Okay. So your traits, I think for the rep traits, it's about as good as you can do right at the moment. I was definitely not buying a bunch of those consoles. I can't get the browser to pop up. I tried getting some stuff last week on OBS, but it was just having too many issues on the second monitor here, so I can't pull up what I'm looking at. Starship trait wise, your second trait, that's the first contact one. Can't remember its name. That one's pretty bad. Just give me a minute. I need to go just buy something quick. Someone must have bought it already. Terrible. I'm going to mail you a trait though, because you gotta have a good day to die as attack. That's just a must-have. And I don't see it on there, so I'm gonna swap to a character that I believe has one. Because you're running a bunch of the freebie traits. A good day to die, if you're a tactical captain, is one of the most impactful personal traits you can get. It lets you go down fighting at any HP. Ooh, fast load time. But yeah, what a good day to die does is it lets you hit your go down fighting at any HP level, so it is one of the most impactful personal traits you can actually run, because that is very nice buff. So check your mail. Now it's time to do what I like to do here and gamble. I'm trying to think what else here. Starship trait wise, we're gonna have to wait and see what the next event one is, because you got to get something better than that second one. I can't remember the name of it. You might even be better off running like the Intel specialization trait. That'll give you some accuracy rating, but that won't do too much for you on fall. Do we know the Admiralty card yet? No. We do not. And unfortunately, I'm a little bit away here. Admiralty is locked, so you can't progress past, what is it, 10,000 XP a day in any of the categories? Like, it's locked to that 10,000 in each category, so I've already hit the cap on one of them today. Yeah, Klingon's maxed for today. Let me see here. So I'm at 86,000 XP in the Klingon one, and that takes 200,000 XP, so barely halfway there. The Intel primary, okay. That's good. And I just saw the thing about PS4. Yeah, all of the content releases, that's one thing I very much dislike, is how long it takes for stuff to get to console. I don't play on console, but it sucks knowing that people have to wait 3+ months for this stuff. Gotta find something that takes civilian buffs. Are there any good Polaron weapons? The Lucari dual cannon is very good if you're using rapid fire. The beam array is very good also if you're doing beam overload. Those have technical overload built into them, so if you're using beam overload, rapid fire, or surgical strikes, what the beam or dual cannon that are in the Lucari rep set, not any of them from the store, just the ones, those two that are in the set, the technical overload will do a big chunk of damage for the first shot. Think of it like a beam overload type situation. So that does quite a bit. So here's the DOF if people haven't seen the Reddit post I put up earlier. It slots onto the ground. This is from getting rank 4 and 6 commendations. And also, just going back to the Polaron stuff, outside of that, there's no, like, really OP, like, really good Polaron type. It's, you can do Protonic Polaron, some people mess with that, but the scaling on those isn't the best ever. They didn't really get buffed up with Delta Rising and the higher marks. But what Protonic Polaron does is it has a very unique proc in that it will proc whenever you get a crit. It's like a 25% chance when you get a crit to proc, so it's not a per cycle proc or per shot, it's a per crit chance. So those weapons can technically proc the most out of any weapon we have in the game. It's just the damage on them is very limited. Chronometric set is good, but the proc, it doesn't really do much because of how procs are right now. Got that chronometric set on an alt here. The big thing with the chronometric set is you want to use that if you're running an EPG build. That is the big thing with it. What about phase polarons with the proc? So even with that, all that proc is doing is just telling you that it's got dual procs on it. And the dog's going nuts again. Hopefully that removes him barking. Let me know if that's too bad. So I think I have some phase polarons somewhere here. So it's just all that proc is doing is just taking place. It used to be these weapons only had they just didn't have a mod, so the proc is just making it compatible with the re-engineering system, and that's just showing you that it's got a second weapon proc. It's still 2.5%. Dog seems to have calmed down a bit. So there's something I want to go over too here. So this really is a big thing for rapid fire. It works with anything that is not fire at will. I'm going to do a separate video on this eventually, likely when I get my desktop back. And it is accuracy overflow. So it does work with fire at will, but only against your primary target, none of the secondary targets. But accuracy overflow is something that a lot of people don't quite understand or know about, and it's actually quite big. I wish I had an Excel spreadsheet to pop open for you guys right now, but I can't get that to show up on OBS for some reason. Let me just move away from people. So with scatter volley, you do have a minus AC rating on it, but with rapid fire, you don't have that. With beam overload, you can fully take advantage of this. Surgical strikes. It's just the AoE abilities have a minus accuracy thing on them that will mess with them, and fire at will, again, doesn't work with it on any secondary targets, only the primary target. So with accuracy rating, every 10 points of accuracy rating factors out to be 1.25% crit chance and 5% severity. So that's not going to factor into the crit chance and severity like shown on your stats page, because it varies by target depending on their defense rating. So if you're in PvE, you're going to have most of the AC rating you have here. Except, of course, again, if you use Fire at Will or Scatter Volley, those will reduce it because those have the AC debuff on them, as I'll show here. Fire at Will. With Fall 3, it's minus 30 accuracy, but Fall 1's minus 50. So that's a bit annoying, but it's not as bad for Scatter Volley. Scatter Volley at its worst. Let's see there. So CSV at its worst is minus 50 accuracy. At its best, minus 30. So if I put Scatter Volley on this build, my Scatter Volley attacks would have 95.5 accuracy rating. And they're doing the backyard right now, sorry about the background. But if we go back to just rapid fire here, and this would also apply for beam overload, surgical strikes, anything that's not foul or scatter volley, you can really stack up AC rating and get a ton of crit chance. Like we see here on my rapid fire build on the Gem Dread, I'm at 125.5 AC rating. So each point of AC rating is that goes into overflow is 0.125 crit chance and 0.5 severity. So let's pull up a calculator. 125.5 times 0.125. So with 125.5 AC rating overflow, I'm getting 15.6875% crit chance. And then for crit severity, 125.5 times 0.5, 62.75. So that is what I would get there with 125.5 AC rating on this CRF boat. And in PvE, you're going to get most of that. So with this AC overflow stuff, it's really good to be running like the weapon sensor enhancer. I would use that over the binaural infusion circuit or any other low buy console, because if you're doing rapid fire or beam overload, or even scatter volley really, this weapon sensor enhancer is going to do more than most of those consoles. Especially if you stack it alongside other accuracy buffs. So you've got the Domino console, that's plus 20 accuracy. You've got this Hostile Acquisition console, the one that's really cheap on the exchange. I just bought about 20 of them before the stream, and they were going for 300k, so they'll keep dropping down throughout this lockbox being out. But if you look at it, that plus 30 accuracy rating on that, if that all goes to overflow, that is 3.75% crit chance and 15 severity. That's better than the binaural infusion circuit, and it's a console that costs under $1 million EC. Joshua, it really depends. For AC overflow, how far you want to take it, it's all up to you. I would try to get up as far as you can. If you're doing scatter volley, if you're doing scatter volley 3, you just need to subtract 30 from whatever you have. If you're doing scatter volley 2, which is as low as I would recommend going, you're going to have to subtract 40 from what you get to compensate for the accuracy debuff those have. So if I'm running CSV, the weapon sensor enhancer would just Scatter Volley 2 weapon sensor enhancer would just make up for the accuracy debuff on that. Scatter Volley 3 hostile acquisition would just make up for it, I should say. And I'm running all the accuracy stuff on this ship right now, even superior accurate. So you can get some really, really crazy numbers. But aiming for upwards of around 100 would be what I would try to do. I'm not sure if it would be worth using Lambda for, because I think Beta, the debuff from Beta, it's pretty good. CNC 295, I bought it because the accuracy rating on it makes it good. Yeah, the console itself, all the clickies on it are trash, but it's something. I wouldn't go out and buy it right now. You don't need to go out and buy stuff right now if the queue is being broke. You can wait another week and the price will crash down probably just within the next day. But I haven't relisted the consoles or anything that I did buy for market manipulation, if you're wondering. They're all sitting on my other character. As I'll show here again. Yeah, it's not really the best console ever, you know, with the clicky on it, but when you look at the plus accuracy rating, if you're taking advantage of ACK overflow with rapid fire or scatter volley or beam overload, it is pretty good, especially on a rapid fire build. That's, as I said, plus 30 accuracy rating, that can be up to 3.75% crit chance and 15 severity. That's really good. And the clicky on it, you could use against a boss. Minus 50 all damage resistance rating, minus all damage. You could use that on the Queen and HSE. That'd be decent. And I'll be buying plenty more of them too if you list more, because that is truly an underrated console. It's still under $1 million. Let's check again. Yeah, 700K. It's still not bad. So has anyone got any questions about stuff like ACK overflow? Oh, don't worry. So the Protonic Polaron are okay in comparison to standard Polaron weapons. So the only person that I know that's like messed with the set anytime recently was Jay off of STO builds. The proc on them doesn't do too much damage, but the thing about them is that proc, I think I have some on SOB, is that it is going to go off quite often. It's just the damage on them needs to be buffed by Cryptic, because that's been an issue with them since Delta Rising, is the damage on them didn't scale up well at all. Here, I know I've got one somewhere. Yeah, here's a Protonic Polaron Beamer. Or even better, here's an epic cannon. So you see there the two target, 25% chance on critical to deal damage to target. It's not a normal proc. There is still the normal or Polaron proc there. You see that between all the stuff there at the bottom. But it is when you get a crit, you have a 25% chance for it to proc. It's just that the proc doesn't do much damage. But it's actually going to proc quite a bit. And if they ever buff that up, that would be crazy. If I were going for a full Polaron setup, I would probably go for Protonic Polaron just because of how much the proc goes off. Even though it may not be the most damaging proc ever. And also CNC, like, as I said, don't worry about it, but it's just for me, gearing up other tunes. I'm not even going to gear up my Jemadar most likely now. Because it's just too costly. The amount of ships to level up. It's just too much work. CNC, Zenkethi Vandy Shield. It's a very rare drop from the was it diffusive Tetrion weapon packs. So it's just because of the rarity of the drop. Trying to remember where I listed stuff. Fast load times. You know, I guess let's see what's new on Reddit. Here we go. What I think I'm gonna do here. I'm surprised these Delta Alliance off packs haven't went up, to be honest. They're not available in the C store anymore. Last I saw. Let's transfer these to a different character. I would sell it just because it's worth so much, but all of the stuff that comes from Infinity, including that, is likely going to go up slightly over the next month or so. You're going to have a lot of people coming back for the Ryza summer event. But there's also just the fact that the Infinity isn't out now. We just had it out for 3 months, as you all know, and now it's gone for another 2 months, 2.5. I think this character is still on the old Deep Space Nine. Yep. The Vanguard warship is the best ship, Vanguard ship for attack. And of course, gives me that trait. Oh wait, it's Scramble Fighters. I thought it was the point defense one. Never mind. Okay, that works. Let's see if anyone needs any DOS. My GPU is just driving out EVGA today for the RMA, so hopefully it doesn't take too long for them to get me the new one mailed out. I'd like to see an SRO space trade appear on more bridge officers for feds. I just hate that you can't get a full set of them on a fed. Useless uncommon. This is a good way to get recruitment XP up. So I don't need it on those character. But deleting DOFs, dismissing them is always nice. How'd you get to lithium? Not much. You get more selling them, but they're a pain to list. So the reason you still have people on the old DS9 is because they have to go out to a different map and come back in to get on the new one. Simple as that. And I have no need to do that on most of my characters yet. Oh, that purple DOF I got. Energy Weapon Officer for crit severity. I will gladly take that and list it with the other one I got earlier. And see how long it takes to sell. Oh, Scramble Fighters. Almost forgot. 115 million. Oh man. So I want to just go over to something I have planned for an upcoming video. When I get my desktop back, because I'm going to be using a bunch of spreadsheet stuff. Is I want to do 180 Infinity lock boxes, and just the goal of the video is to see if I can make my initial investment back, the 800 million or so that 180 keys would cost. And the reason I say 180 keys for that is because 180 keys is how much you need to get a low buy ship. So I'm thinking that could be pretty interesting, just to see how everything breaks down and if you can actually make a profit, because I'm curious myself. I've never actually went through and done the math on Infinity anytime this year. Piet, you don't want to buy those anymore, the plasma generating weapon sensor amplifiers, or weapon signature amplifiers. Those got nerfed heavily. They nerfed those by about 95%. So they're doing like 5% of what they did before season 13. But those are from the Fleet Embassy. So low buy does vary, but on average it is going to be about 5 to 5.4 low buy per lockbox. I'll be surprised if 180 keys doesn't get me there. Character next. Don't remember what all I have stuff listed on. I just figure with that being the on average point what you need, just curious to see if it'll actually be enough to be worth the investment. Yeah, as Joshua said, if you want to do the embassy consoles now, this is a great character for me to swap to actually, because I've got some on this build. I'm running the minus threat ones, but you would want the plus threat ones, but you want to go for the whole repairing ones. Because every time the enemy shoots you, it's going to give a chance to heal you. We see quite a few PvE tanks running 1 or 2 of those for plus threat now. It's certainly pretty nice. Oh wow, I still haven't gotten this done. Thought I got this done. Oops. I need more Lucari marks in this character. And by the way, there were quite a few asking on Reddit if you can reclaim that DOF account wide, the Gamma one. And yes, you can. All you have to do is go to the temporal agent for your faction or your aligned faction and just claim it. It's under Gamma Recruit. Bam. Tier 5 duty officer reward. Make sure I got room for it. And just slot it on the ground. This duty officer will help science the most, I would say, because plus 20% damage, Cat 1 just it helps out science abilities a lot more than your weapons. Your weapons have so much Cat 1 already, it's just insane. Trying to think what else here. Just check, see if these DOF missions are done. Okay, but I actually had a really nice DOF mission finished I want to go over with people. So someone pointed these out to me the other day. I forget who it was, but they're on your bridge, and they're very good. You just trade some crafting materials, and you get a bunch of science XP, commendation XP, and you get a decent amount of dilithium. As soon as the bridge loads, I'm surprised the Jem'Hadar one's taking this long. Queue up for Space Arena. Terrible, Joe. PvP is dead, didn't you know? So go to your bridge, go to contact duty officers wherever you've got it. It's right in front if you're on a Jem'Hadar. Then go to science department, special projects, data sample analysis, and just run all 4 of these. So this first one just takes some really common mats. 40 trionium, that's a common, so you know, it's nothing. 40, and then you have 40 of an uncommon. Okay, it's nothing. 750 science commendation XP, and then 250 Delore. If you get a crit, you get twice that. Takes 6 hours. You gotta feel like that. This is a good way to spam up your science commendation XP. Then this third one only takes 60 of 2 different uncommon types of materials, and if you get a crit, 1000 exploration XP, 1000 science, and 500 dill. Then this last one does take some rares, but it's not much. 12 Z particles, 6 tetrazine, 9 beta tachyon, 3 rubidium. That gives you 1500 science commendation XP and 500 dill. Double that on a crit. And that one takes 8 hours. So that's just a really easy set of assignments you can pick up from your science officer. That'll get you some science commendation XP. Let you burn through some of the excess materials you have for crafting. And get some dilithium. So just once again, just go to your bridge, the contact duty officers thing, or you could go manually to the science person if you wanted. Science department, special projects, data sample analysis. Then run all 4 of them. Hello, Joe. That's just a nice set of things to do. I need to rename some of these characters. If people were around for it, like the Trump name, did that back in 2016, just to have it pop up across the server when I win a ship. Oh, that got so much hate. Very fast load time. If people aren't already taking advantage of this upgrade weekend, by the way, should take advantage of it. I've still got a ton of stuff to upgrade myself. Get everything up to Mark 15. I'm gonna set up a cannon vengeance here. Cannon with 2 ends. I'm gonna try to do some of the spiral wave stuff. Gotta get the Lucari cannon still. I don't think I'm actually going to run the multi-conduit on this, being I'm going to have... that'll help the spiral waves out too much. Polaron is definitely a build. Yeah. Yep, you can get the spiral waves with the Cardassian C-Store ship. That's all this character has, and they're in the Reclaim tab, all the way at the bottom, above the Andorian phasers if you have those. If you're in a fleet with a dill mine, finished with the dill discount, they're 38,573 refined lithium per. So they are not budget friendly, but these are technically the top performing weapons before you get into procs and stuff, because they have an extra mod on them. Best one to get, you know, that's hard to say. I wouldn't get the cruiser if you were just buying one. The cruiser's not that great. The escort doesn't have, it's good, but it's not like super OP. If I were to word that right. Now, the Science Dreadnought isn't the best thing ever, but the Science Dread would make for a nice budget, like, EPG build setup for alts and stuff. So that's something to certainly consider. Okay, where is this turd at? Here it is. Please tell me I have cannons on this one. Good. Yeah. The way those ships look, the Cardassian ones, they are a bit funky. So, have any of you ordered one of the 3D printed ships yet? I just went through and ordered one this week. I got the Sovereign. Like, I'll show it here. I gotta do a lot of upgrading. I still need marks for Lucari cannon on this character also. Let me swap to the right ship. This laptop that's so laggy. I don't know why it's so laggy. It's a 960M, but it should still be smoother. Gotta close this, go back in because it sometimes resets. So for your science consoles, then I would say put in a bunch of just universals that buff various things. What are you using? Are you using fire at will, rapid fire, scatter volley yet? So this is the ship I got 3D printed. I just thought it looked pretty nice. I only got the 4-inch model for now. If it turns out pretty well, I might do this ship in a 7-inch. But I'm not spending the 300 something bucks to get the 12-inch models now. But yeah, this ship, I've always been a fan of this ship, and if you guys were playing back in the day, this ship used to be a big symbol for like completion at endgame because this used to be a very sought after ship due to being unlocked from a tier 5 starbase or a tier 5 military track on the starbase for the shipyard. Back in the day, this was the ship everyone wanted because you got a lot of people that like the Sovereign, and yeah. I just like how this armored version of it looks. This is the fleet armor version. It's the Imperial setup. But I just always liked how it's really armored. I like how these engines are on the back of the saucer. If you can see here, it's like a little gap on them, like a little bit. Yeah, there we go. You can see them a bit better. I just like how that is. I like the detail with it. It's not the best looking ship ever, but like I really don't like that deflector. But it's a decent looking ship. So the 4-inch model I got of it, it was $25, and then it was $7 and change shipping, so 32 something overall. Okay, so if you go back in this stream, I went over some of the accuracy consoles. Let me get back to my vengeance. So the weapon sensor enhancer is a low buy console. That's pretty good for cannons because they'll take advantage of the accuracy overflow. Which, if you want to go and learn about that, that's back in the video. But with AC overflow, it gives a nice amount, and then you could run like the hostile acquisition console. This is a cheap console. It's under $1 million on the exchange. Thoron infused plasma. Or Polaron, I'm sorry. I don't know of anyone that has, but that's just because weapon procs don't go off like much at all, so building for any proc is just, it's hard to do now. The only exception is that Protonic Polaron, because you know that's going to proc a ton. But all of the other procs, even building for coalitions now, is pretty rough. You have to be in a full team with everyone running coalitions for them to really beat any other option. The Imperial skin is the skin you get off of the, or for the Assault Cruiser with the fleet version of the Assault Cruiser. Let me show it here. Yeah, so it's just this Imperial. I was tempted to do the Vengeance, get it printed, but I don't think a 4-inch model would, you know, justify that ship. And I really loads here. Do not like the skin it gets in STO. It doesn't quite have that Aztecing you see on the Vengeance. I don't know. Just this default skin just it sort of sucks. I remember Zeph Films, he got these ships, you know, just a few days before they came out, and he did a video and showed it to Cryptic to see what they thought about it, and the skin was so bad originally on the Vengeance that they quickly redid it in a few days. And I think it still needs a revamp because this skin doesn't justify this shit. It just it could use an improvement. So I was thinking if I did get it, I'd probably go with like the Type 7. I know it's the white Vengeance. It's got the patterns on it a bit better at least, and you still have the red cannons there at the bottom. It's so shiny. But I'd like to get a black Vengeance, but not with how this STO model would look. And I really don't mind the Type 7 on the Vengeance. And you do get some other neat options. The Constitution skin on it isn't too bad. But it's, I don't like how it makes the things white. The Type 0 is different, but it's just too plain, I would say. So back to like questions. Anyone have any questions? I can't like actually play anything because this laptop will just melt. It's bad enough trying to do patrols on it. Yeah. I know they're pretty limited on time, but that is one that I think should have someone go back and redo it again. Like I don't want to, you know, say it's bad work, but it just doesn't quite, I don't know. Just sucks. And I'd love to have seen how bad the original is if they had to completely redo it within just a few days there. Nothing is selling. Thank you, Joel. Which is better on Torps, crit D or damage, and why? So that really depends. It depends on how many damage buffs you have going for damage, or going for the Torps. Like, and it applies the same as if you're going for just normal energy weapons. If you're on attack and you have a ton of damage buffs, damage is very likely going to win. But if you're on a non-tack, then going for crit D is going to win, as you don't have as many damage buffs. I mean, tacks have attack power and alpha, go down fighting, tack fleet, though everyone in the team benefits from tack fleet at least. The thing to remember too is with the damage mod, if you go crit D slash damage times 4, that's just giving you like what is it, like around 19% final damage, meaning after every damage buff you have, you're getting a flat 19% damage buff, basically. After everything. That's what the damage mod does. Crit D, you know what crit D does. Just makes it hit a little bit harder when it does crit, but damage just makes sure that every hit hits harder. Okay, let's see. Complete Romulan space patrols. Okay. That's the endeavor. Let's see if it gets stuttery again. Like, I can do the patrols, it's just really stuttery. I'm wondering if it's because of the external display. Always pick this stuff up, these missions up on your Klingons here, the marauding ones that are ransacking or disabling freighters, stuff like that. Those give you contraband. I gotta go into settings and controls. There we go. Is anything useful in the gamma rep traits? Tier 4 magnified firepower plus 5% cat 2 weapon damage. Cat 2, so that's a pretty good buff. And as far as space traits, it's basically all you have to worry about. I've been playing since 2012. to get trying to move around stuff on my tray. Dying in a red alert. Just got one of those turrets slotted. It was spamming them with me when I was trying to do marauding one day. My cooldown reduction's way off here. That was very sloppy. I hate leveling these ships up. The Vanguard warship is the only one I've actually worked on and leveled up to even 5 so far. Getting up to Mastery 6 is just terrible. Skullin, so are you running the competitive engines? The ones that you're off of a heal? And do you have the emergency con hologram? With the mercy powered engines. Those are 2 big things that really help on the scimitar. Karaya. I don't even have most of the traits on here. I really don't want to go through and level up a bunch of traits on this character. Yeah, this is pretty laggy on this laptop. What did I miss? playing this on this laptop's a bit different for me. I shouldn't be complaining because it's still a good laptop, 960. I'm at a i7 6700 HQ, but it's still a massive drop from my desktop. Okay, no good size ships to use there. I have no good ships to use anywhere. Just roll with it. That's good enough for now. My graphics card went out. I have a 1080 Ti and it's an EVGA one, and it is now the second time I have had one of their cards fail on me. The original one I bought last year failed about a month after I got it, and this one lasted 9 months. So I sent it in for the RMA. They just got it about an hour ago. Just got the message from UPS saying it was delivered. So now I get to wait 1 to 3 business days and they send me a new one. Yeah, I went a bit stupid and a bit nuts with my computer. This thing is just terrible. This power dispersal wave. Does like no damage and it locks you out of hitting things for so long. Favorite Trek actor? Hmm. You know, Data's nice, but you know, Riker. I think, you know, Riker's just uh, really high up there. I'm trying to think who else. I like Cisco a bit, but he's just nuts. I guess I'm just gonna have to say Riker there for sure. And Skolin, what do I do with those cards? I don't know. I don't do any mining on them, so I don't know what the issue is. Yeah, yeah. We actually had Jonathan Frakes over here a few months ago. He did a speech during my town. Um, yeah, with the scimitar stuff, all I run on mine is the emergency con hologram with emergency powered engines and the competitive engines. From there, it's just a matter of getting used to that. Because even with those, it's going to be a bit slower. You're going to have to adjust to it. But once you adjust to it, you can handle it pretty well. So that's those patrols done. 20k more to go. I don't like knocking out groups in this right off the bat, but I hit these cubes. No, after that, the warship is the only one I would go out of my way to maybe buy. But I think there's better ships out there. I think the science carrier will be pretty nice, but that's not for like min-max performance. That's just because it looks nice and the pets do pretty well. Okay, what marks does I need? Delta. Um, so the XP, it's giving you XP whenever someone on your team gets a kill. So that 2 XP was likely not from that. Also, if you don't want to get dumped back at Soul System, whenever you leave a red alert, hit the leave map button, not the pop-up that pops up. That usually works. What else can I grab here? Few cooldowns. What marks do I need to grab? Grab, I guess, a little bit more temporal. And by the way, if you do get too much commendation XP in a certain category, you can go to your star base and convert it to fleet marks. Every 10k over can get you 75 to 100 fleet marks, more with the bonus pool. Like, to be honest, with all the new ships, the ones that interest me the most are actually the Cardassian ones, because the consoles can be used on any ship, which I really like. But these Jem'Hadar ships really have this neat mechanic on them with the wingmen. More temporal hurts. So instead of hitting this thing, hit this leave map now. Have I tested the McKee Raider yet? No, I haven't done much testing at all with any ships, like performance-wise, because the queues are broke. The scaling them, the enemies are scaled much higher, you're scaled down, so your HP is really messed up. Yeah, so I hit that leave map now instead of the pop-up, and it dumped me right back where I was in sector space. So if you don't want to be dumped over at Seoul, hit the thing that's not on the pop-up window. Yeah, just the McKee Raider looks really nice. It's just I can't test anything right now with the queues being broke, and the stuttering on this laptop just drives me nuts. Especially when I'm not streaming here. I'm making it worse for myself by making it go full screen, and the monitor I play on is a rather high resolution. $91K on that. I'll take it. That gem basically has nothing. I mean, it's got fully epic gear and everything, but trait-wise, it's pretty messed up. Let's see, is anything sold yet? I'm going to have to relist some things quick. Ships are all lowest prices. Okay. Oh, the new DOF is nice. It's nothing major. There's a bunch of people on Reddit that were going nuts saying it's super OP, but for your weapons, it is equivalent to half attack console. Where it's really going to help is with the EPG boats out there. Those will be able to take full advantage of that 20% bonus damage, because they have nowhere near the amount of buffs that weapons do. The Romulans are still the top min-max class though, because all the crit chance. But Jemadars are certainly not far behind. What? Oh, people don't know? I posted it on Reddit earlier. Hold on, I'll go look at it again. Yeah, so the duty officer from getting rank 4 and 6 commendations is plus 20% all damage versus any species. It's a warfare specialist. But it's a category 1 damage buff. And it slots on the ground, though that might not be intended, but if you slot it on the ground, they likely can't fix it if they do change it. Plus 20% all damage versus any enemy in space for PvE. It does not work in PvP. So this is the DOF from this. Rank 4 and 6 commendations. So the reason like exotic stuff will take advantage of it more is because you have less buffs for your exotic stuff compared to weapons. Like weapons innately have a few hundred cat 1 on them when you get them up to mark 15. But for your other stuff, like chemo's going to benefit from this quite a bit. EPG stuff, any non-weapon ability is really going to benefit from this. Yeah, it is an account reclaim. So I'll pull it up here again. Let me go to a character I haven't claimed it on yet. Yeah, see, I've seen that. I remember people making the Galaxy and that. I used to play that way too much. So all you have to do to claim it is once you have it unlocked on your Jemadar and you've claimed the reward, oops, just go to your temporal agent. You know, so there's one on ESD, there's one on the Romulan flotilla, and then there's one on Kronos. So the one on Kronos, whatever, and ESD, they're both near the security officer. Like, they're really close. And then you just claim it, and you got it. Once you open the box. Then you just slot it. It's certainly one of the best duty officers you can get, especially being it goes in a ground slot. So it's like getting an additional space duty officer for free. Kaiser, yes. I have heard that the new placate trait basically will keep proccing if it goes on any heal over time things like hazard emitters, all that. So hopefully that gets fixed, but that's not a priority. I mean, if Q's being fixed isn't a priority for Cryptic, then I don't think that trait's going to be a priority. Yeah, let's look at where it is on Kronos. So you got the security officer there on the Great Hall. This guy's just right here. Right on the opposite side when you come in. Then you just claim the Tier 5 Duty Officer Award, and that's it. I'll claim those all on all these alts once I get everything done. So I need to figure out what to rename this character to at some point. As I was saying earlier, for those of you that were around back in 2016, there are a few of us that renamed our characters something, political, because this was before the election. Like, the amount of QQ you could get from people, they just messaged you, sending very nice comments. So that when I would win a lockbox ship on that character, it'd pop that name up for everyone in the game, and I'm surprised I didn't get bad named for it, to be honest. So I'll link the Reddit post. I went over that. Give me a minute. Oh, it's making me sign in to chat. Okay. Oh, no. I don't want to hear myself. Creator Studio. Live streaming. There you go. So that's exactly what I did to get my commendations up fast. I did use some pay to win methods for it. Also, 3 new comments on Reddit. Let me just go take a look here. Geez, that Reddit post with the DOF, the one I linked there, that has 3.3 thousand views already. Had someone on my fleet's Facebook group, which we don't really use anymore. They were wondering why their Jemadar was shaking. And I was telling them it's because your Jemadar is a drug addict and he's going through withdrawal. You got to give him, a fix there, man. What's on this character? More DOFs that won't sell, and they'll end up back in my thing in a few days. Yeah, that would be bad named very fast. Earth's Flat. I was thinking, I did poor Lockbox Gambler, but one I was thinking about doing, I wonder what would happen with it is mail me master keys and then have that pop up. So whenever I win a ship, mail me master keys at Spencer B96 has won a ship. Yeah. I wonder if people would actually send me keys for that. But I need to do that to a Klingon character because those are best to open lockboxes on right now. Let's see here. I'm just trying to figure out. I had so much stuff listed, but so much of it bounced back. Oh, let's just go back to this for now. Yeah, Junkie Hadar. Yeah. I was telling the guy on Facebook that he needs to go to the Vorta, and Is the drug dealer over there? Oh, she is. Gotta get that white. So I'm just gonna answer a few more questions, then I'm gonna end the stream for today. So has anyone got any more questions? Also, I do have some videos planned to be working on when my desktop is back up and operational. I want to get something done like an understanding STO video. I haven't done one of those in a while. I want to get one of those done for accuracy overflow, going over what I went over in the stream today. And I'd like to get one done for damage categories. I'd like to at least get those two done, if nothing else, for that series, because I haven't done anything with that in quite some time. Then, like, ship build wise, I want to get something done with one of the new ships at least. Probably the lockbox ones, because the Vanguard ones are just too annoying to level up. You blame me for ordering a ship? We'll see how they turn out. They gave me an estimate of like 2 or 3 months, but I was reading on Reddit that the dates are wrong and that I should realistically be looking at less than a month to get it. But it was saying it wasn't going to even print until August. Late August. I already had Infinity on this character. You don't get chips opening little bits like this. You gotta open a lot. Like, I got a ship earlier today, but I opened 50 keys at one time, so going and opening like 7 doesn't really do well. Is the McKee Raider good for PvP? You know, I would say it's likely going to be better than the Baltum. The big thing it's got going for it is it has what is it? Let me remember the name of the ability here. Narrow sensor bands, which makes you immune to placate and confuse, and then gives you some accuracy. That is very good for PvP. The issue that this ship will have, though, in PvP, the McKee Raider, is that it doesn't have a cloak. But having an extra console here that you can run survivability in or something, that'll be very handy. I haven't flown the ship at all, as you can see. I just bought it the other day, and well, last week, and just let it sit there. I think the trade-off of it's actually pretty decent if you could get a gravity well on something and sit still. It could be interesting to mess around with, but it's not really going to do much in most places. The console off of it can be used on any ship now. The numbers for it are off because I'm on the ground. We'll have to test out and see how that goes. Then the experimental weapon, I'm going to need to upgrade that. Let me upgrade that quick. I gotta transfer upgrades back. Do I think there's going to be a new fleet holding? Well, they release a new fleet holding, you know, like every year in the fall, so I fully expect there to be a fleet holding with the next season. I fully expect it. Half season, whatever it is, there's likely going to be a fleet holding. Just hope that it's not like the colony holding that most people still haven't completed. I think the Miradorn is going to win over this ship because the pilot maneuvers help so much. The Miradorn overall is just better stat-wise. The McKee Raider just simply has the extra console going for it, and the fact that it has access to some bridge officer abilities that can help you resist placates, which are really bad right now. What is the best Federation starship cruiser? That's going to be the Odyssey. One of the Odyssey ones. So you want to get the flagship bundle, or at least the Odyssey T6 bundle if you're going for that, because the console set's pretty good. The 3-piece console set gives you a damage buff when you're being shot at, and the consoles have some nice clickies on them. Yeah, I need to upgrade it to Mark 15 Epic. Need to see how it compares to the other heavy weapons. Oh, went ultra rare really easily there. Now if it can go epic, that would be great. If this would respond when I click it also, that would be great. Is it coming through a bit sluggish for you guys when you're watching? Because it's pretty sluggish for me. So the Sheller is the current top performing experimental weapon. Let's see how it compares, just looking at the numbers here. Okay, that'll be interesting to see. So it looks like the McKee Raider experimental weapon would benefit most from enemies that are grouped up in like a gravity well and that you're really close to. As it says, their damage drops off sharply past 5 kilometers, so that's gonna hurt it. And then the Lace Sheller there, that thing always does a lot more than it says because you get a massive damage buff depending on what way you're facing the target. Yeah, the reason that people go for Voice of the Prophets is because it's, of course, much cheaper. The experimental Protomatter Lace Sheller does cost 300 to whatever that ship is at now, 350. But, yeah. The voice comes close enough and is much cheaper, so for most people that is certainly worth using. Yes, if only the McKee Raider could cloak. That would help it quite a bit. If only it had a second specialization seat also. So I still haven't done much with this Jemadar Light Battlecruiser. I think it's okay, but the bridge officer layout on it is just very limiting. The dual commanders, you don't have as many of the things you need. Enough room to run everything you need. I use the Sheller in PvP when I do PvP. Um, I know some like Voice of the Prophets in PvP because it hits harder, but the Protomatter is more consistent. Yeah, the colony consoles are very nice for PvP. In PvE, we have a few people now running 1 to 2 of them. And that is these things here that I'm showing on the screen, the energetic protomatter matrix infuser. So the issue is you can't get cannons or beams, you're forced to stick to like disruptor or phaser. And then they buff kinetic stuff a little bit, but they have a really nice heal on them that has a chance to activate whenever you hit any bridge officer ability that affects weapon. So any firing cycle abilities, I should say, like weapon enhancements like fire at will, torp spread, rapid fire, those will trigger it. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that question. Distributed targeting, do I think it's worth it? No, it's a very overpriced ability on the exchange. Don't get me wrong, it's good, but it's not going to beat Chemosite, and it's not something you need to worry about finding a way to fit in the build. It's something you run if you have nothing else to run. So you could use the Omni to trigger it if you're running cannons 4 and then the beam aft. That would work because they're two different weapon types. Focused assault always works, but like in PvE, I get a lot of damage out of Chemosite. I've had like HSE runs where I've gotten 20 something K out of Chemosite with the dual cannon setups. Yeah, Miracle Worker has the mixed armaments synergy or whatever MAS that gives you the damage buff for running different weapon types together. Yeah, Chemo still does a good amount to people in PvP. It's been a while since I've PvP'd though, and PvP seems to be completely broken right now with that trait, so it's still going to be a bit longer. Okay, guys, I think that wraps up this stream for today. So thank you everyone for watching. And if you have any more questions, if you missed a stream, just ask in the comment section, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. But like for wondering how the ships perform and all that, I don't have an idea yet because I haven't flown most of them. So all I have is to go on is the stats, and the stats show me that most of them will be nothing special. So I will see you all around.